Hey everybody, Ross here, and this is Bible Study Superstar. If this is your first time on this channel, click the first link down in the description, or if you'd like to see what's just been going on recently, click the second link in the description. Now, I'm sure you've noticed a couple of different things. For one, my camera is in a much different position. Since I've finished recording Genesis 50, a lot of changes have been going on. For one, I've gotten a new monitor, or TV, whatever you want to call it. And so my camera positioning that I had for all of Genesis no longer works because this TV is much taller than what I had before. What I had before was the camera sitting behind and above the TV. What I have right now is in front and sort of in the middle of the TV. So that's why I'm kind of like in your face. But it's what I have to work with right now. I'm probably going to be going back and forth with different methods as I try new things out. You'll also notice that the audio quality of this video is much better than what you usually get. I recently bought well, the description makes it close to a studio quality microphone, but with some tweaking I actually made it basically studio quality recording. So I treated myself to a new mic after finishing the first semester of college. Speaking of, I haven't been able to record videos since, oh man, late November of 2013. And today it's June 23rd. So yeah, it's been quite a while since I've been able to record anything for this channel, make any kind of videos. The only reason that everything's been going up so much is because I have everything auto scheduled to post on YouTube. So you'll be seeing this in early August. Anyway, enough about that. Just one thing about this channel that I need to point out is the scheduling of the videos is going to remain every Monday for quite a while. I know I said whenever I started this channel that I would start out posting one video a week, and then as I keep making videos ahead of time, I would be able to post more and more often. Now that I've started college, which is a really new development for me, my time for making videos is really limited, so I'm having to condense all of the time that I'll be making videos into the summer and after the fall semester and before the spring semester. So I'm gonna have to keep the videos for every Monday for quite a while, at least until I finish college. So it looks like we're gonna be closer to the 23 point something years that it's gonna take to go through the entire Bible that I was trying to avoid. It won't take that long, but it'll just take longer than I expected. So anyway, if you're coming to this video from the Genesis 50 video, you'll notice that this says the Exodus introduction. While studying for Exodus, I decided to do a just general introduction and summary to the book that I wish I would have done for Genesis. And then in the next video, I'll move on to Exodus 1 proper. So anyway, all I'm going to do is just pretty much state in these introduction videos anyway, is just state the overall purpose of the book as far as what I can tell. And then just summarize the book from beginning to end before getting into each individual chapter. So, if you're curious, the way that I did this is I looked at how many chapters there were in Exodus, and there's 40. and I read through 10 chapters a day for 4 days. And I just wrote down all of the overall observations I made for the book as a whole. And so that's what I'm going to do here. So, anyway, so let's move on right to the meat of the matter, shall we? The book of Exodus serves two primary purposes. First and foremost, it puts God's incredible power, ability to protect and provide for his people, and wrath against his enemies on display. Secondly, but no less important, it serves as a means of delivering the law to the people of Israel. We will see, as we continue to read through the Bible, that the law is not primarily a set of rules to be followed to the letter, because that's impossible to do, but as a means of showing us our sinfulness and point us to the atoning work of Jesus. Now, just in summary, the book of Exodus begins with a brief reminder of how Genesis ended, and then it details the birth and early life of Moses, making sure to point out the fact that he remained loyal to the people of Israel despite technically being Egyptian royalty. It gives the account of Moses being commissioned by God as his instrument to free his people from the Egyptians. Now, keep in mind, Moses knew of his unworthiness and inability to complete the task God called him to do. So God enabled him and gave him Aaron as a helper. Now, Aaron is his brother. When God calls someone to do something, he makes sure to provide what they need for the task, and then molds the person into the person that God needs them to be. As God is commissioning Moses for the work, he reveals his name as being I am that I am. Now, this is important because it really shows that God is everything. It's almost like you could say, God is, and then insert a blank. And then insert every good and great and gracious thing and providing thing that God is into the blank. And so that's why it's important for God to say, I am. I am everything is another way of saying it, just colloquially. Now, understandably, neither the people nor the Egyptians believe that Moses and Aaron are sent by God at first. The people have a particularly hard time believing in the beginning because Moses and Aaron's efforts to free them only make their oppression worse. The Egyptians don't take them seriously because the magicians of the land initially perform the same feats as Moses and Aaron do. God's primary goal with the plagues that he begins hitting Egypt with after Pharaoh refuses to let the people go is to display his mighty power and eliminate all doubt that he is God and he is God alone. Even with all of these displays, though, Pharaoh, who believes himself to be a god himself, continually refuses to let the people go, and God continually hardens Pharaoh's heart. Eventually, the plagues reach a point where the magicians cannot recreate them, and they readily admit that God is at work. The only change Pharaoh makes is that he claims to let the people go, only to recant after the plagues end. As time goes on, he even attempts to bargain terms with Moses and Aaron. Pharaoh has to most definitely be one of the most stubborn men of all time, and you'll see that as we go into the individual chapters. Finally, God reaches the point where he kills the firstborn of every Egyptian while sparing every Israelite. This causes Pharaoh to all but throw out Israel in his grief. So God institutes the Passover to commemorate God's salvation and deliverance from Egypt yearly. It doesn't take long for Pharaoh and the Egyptians to regret letting their slave labor force go, though, and set out to recapture them. This gives God the opportunity to display his power more mightily than since the plagues began. In the midst of Israel's despair and hopelessness, God splits the Red Sea and gives his people a path of escape. When the Egyptians arrogantly chase after them, God closes the sea again and utterly destroys the Egyptians. The people of Israel rightly praise, honor, and worship the Lord for his mighty work in freeing them. Almost immediately after, though, they began complaining against God because of a water shortage, essentially doubting that he was able to care for them. So God provided them with water. This satisfied the people for a little while, but when food became an issue, they complained and doubted God again, until he provided them with daily provisions of both manna and quail. This pattern of dissatisfaction, complaining, and provision continued until they reached Mount Sinai. There, God descended onto the mountain, spoke to Moses, and gave him the Ten Commandments. Then for a large portion of the book after this, God gives Moses the law, which Israel would live by in incredible detail, ranging from how to handle various situations of murder and accidental death, treatment of servants and even animals, and how to handle crimes like theft. And you'll notice as we read the individual laws that a lot of, most of what's in there still applies today. Actually, all of it, but you'll see as we get to it. So after that, God lays out the building plans and materials for the tabernacle, its furnishings, and the priest's garments in the same exacting detail. He then names Aaron as the first priest of Israel and explains how he and his sons should be sanctified for their new positions. During the 40 days and 40 nights that God was giving Moses all of his laws and instructions, the people of Israel quickly grew restless and doubtful. They easily convinced Aaron to make them a god shaped like a golden calf, and had the audacity to give it the credit for bringing them out of Egypt. They did all this because they assumed that because Moses was gone for so long, he had to be dead. And so they doubted, again, that God could do what he said. When God told Moses of what the people were doing, he was so angry that he wanted to destroy all of them and make a people out of Moses instead. The only reason they survived is because Moses interceded before God on their behalf. And that right there should show the power of intercessory prayer in its fullest. After God had restrained his anger, he sent Moses down from Mount Sinai to stop the people from worshiping the golden calf. And stop them he did. In his anger, he broke the original tablets that bore the Ten Commandments, destroyed the golden calf, and made the people drink water mixed with its remains. Then he called for the people still loyal to the Lord to rally around him, and they killed everyone who had fallen away. If I remember right, it was about 3,000 men, and that doesn't include women and children. And we don't really know if children were involved at all. It doesn't say. But anyway, because the tribe of Levi all rallied with Moses, they were appointed the priestly tribe of Israel. After this, the book returns to the detailing of the law, the building of the tabernacle, and the making of the priests' garments. And the book ends with the completion of the tabernacle, the institution and consecration of the priests, and the presence of God filling the tabernacle. And that's all I have for today. Thanks for watching. I know I kind of rambled on a bit at the beginning, so thanks if you really watched the whole thing. But anyway, may God make you as Ephraim and Manasseh, to make you fruitful where you are, and to forget the pain of your past. Thanks again for watching. If you have any comments, feedback, or suggestions, leave them down below in the comments. And I will see you all soon in Exodus 1.